Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to ARC's Fireside Chat. Today, we will be talking about higher education during incarceration and during reentry or post-incarceration. So, as usual, we have some incredible human beings that have a great deal of knowledge and experience in this particular area and in life in general. So, I want to welcome these incredible human beings that will be highlighting the importance of higher education both during incarceration and reentry, and the journey of some of those some may experience, and some of the hurdles that people may experience both while incarcerated and upon release when it comes to post-secondary education. Today we have on our show Melissa Shumsky, ARC's own Workforce and Education Coordinator, Andrew Winn, Project Rebound, Irene Sotelo, ARC member, MSW, and Project Rebound Coordinator at Cal State Long Beach. Shout out to Long Beach, Sacramento area, Andrew, and LA area for Melissa. So without further ado, Melissa, could you introduce yourself? How are you doing today? And tell us a little bit about the work that you're doing here as the Workforce and Education Coordinator.
Thank you, Sam. Yeah, my name is Melissa Shumsky. I am the Workforce and Education Coordinator here at ARC. I'm actually doing really great today. Thank God it's Friday. No, I'm kidding. And the work that I'm actually doing with ARC, actually before this role was developed at ARC, is actually help navigating our members. Number one, especially when they come home, with their career path and what that looks like when they do come home, and how to bridge that within the educational institutions, and having those different relationships that we cultivate through the different educational institutions, whether it's a trade school, community college, or the university levels. Like with Andrew and Irene on here as well, they've always helped our members, whether it's transferring or even if they don't go into the four-year university, they're loving and willing to help our folks navigate the college system and whatever that looks like, from the FAFSA to the application to classes, and also too with getting into Project Rebound or navigating other resources on campus.
Thank you, Melissa. Andrew, welcome to the show. Could you please introduce yourself? How are you doing today? Introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about the work that you do at Project Rebound.
Yeah, thank you, and welcome everybody who's here. So my name is Andrew Winn. I am the director of Project Rebound at Sacramento State. I am doing well today. You know, the sun is out. I get to wake up, drink coffee in my own home, you know, and have a healthy breakfast. I think it's going quite well. What I do at Project Rebound is support previously and currently incarcerated students with the matriculation process into Sacramento State, provide wraparound support services for them while here, and then put them on a pathway so that they can experience post-graduation success.
Thank you, Andrew. Welcome to the show. And you were drinking coffee a little while ago. I was teasing you a little bit about that cup you were drinking out of, but
well, I mean, this cup.
Yeah,
I'm on water right now. I'm on the water.
We need a Trojan cup for you. We're gonna send you one real soon. And last but not least, and who just graduated with her master's degree in social work. Let's give it up for Irene Sotelo. Could you please introduce yourself, how you're doing today, and tell us a little bit about the work that you're doing at Project Rebound?
Good morning, Sam, or good afternoon now. Yeah, my name is Irene Sotelo. I just graduated with my master's degree at Cal State Long Beach, which wasn't an easy task, but I did it. And I also did it at age 56. So it's never too late. I'm also the program coordinator at Cal State Long Beach, which I've been working voluntarily for 4.5 years to bring Project Rebound onto our campus, which I was determined. The need is there at Cal State Long Beach. We didn't have nothing for formerly incarcerated. So I'm also a co-founder of Rising Scholars, which is the first formerly incarcerated student organization at Cal State Long Beach. And I'm co-founder with Adrian Vasquez, ARC member, and Joe Luis Hernandez, which we co-founded. And after that, they just started coming out. People started saying that they were formerly incarcerated, so the need is there. And now that we have Project Rebound, we're tripled in size just within less than a year. So
Heartfelt congratulations to you, Irene. And that comes from so many people. You can see in the chat, and just want to say again, like, love seeing this and love seeing us succeed. And the conversation that we're going to have today is about post-secondary education. But we also want to include, just so we're clear, college is not the only path to success, though it's one of them. And I say that, so I also want to share, and in the coming weeks, we'll highlight something else, which is the MC3 Multi-Craft Core Curriculum pre-apprenticeship training that's available both inside and outside. So that particular curriculum is for pre-apprenticeship before you go into the building trades. And now CDCR is literally opening up training in every institution for the MC3 curriculum. That's also a curriculum that's recognized by the National Building Trades. It's recognized by the LA and OC Building Trades, by all building trades across the United States. So that's one path. Another path, as Salim Allen, who's joined us in the chat, is production assistance. And all of these are pathways to be able to actually earn a living wage. Not minimum wage, but a living wage, so you can live in cities like Los Angeles and San Francisco, where the cost of living is just crazy. I just wanted to put that out there. But what I want to ask each of you, and I'll begin with you, Irene, what is one way that education impacted you during incarceration or reentry?
Well, before I was arrested for the crimes that sent me to prison, I was homeless, living in the riverbed, getting high on meth. So when I got to the county, within a month, I had a stroke. I was paralyzed left side. With the result of being on, that was all because of the damage I did from the meth. I was high for 2 years straight. So my body went to shock. I had a stroke. So when I was released, I went to a program, but I was only allowed to stay 6 months. So I had to figure out something I had to do in my life because I didn't want to be homeless again. So having a felony on my record, disabled from the stroke, and never had a work history, I had decided to go back to school. And mind you, I was a 7th grade dropout. So I had to start school from the bottom to learn everything over. But being in education, just getting that first A felt like an accomplishment that I've never had. And that's how that impacted, feeling that I accomplished something on my own, and just the experience of having that A, it changed me into keep going.
That's right. That's what I'm talking about. My mom always tells me and has always told me, be a lifelong learner. Never stop learning. Even to this day, my mom's 82, cancer survivor, still learning, and she's retired. So again, I tip my hat to you, Irene. Question to you, Andrew, same thing. What is one way that education impacted you during incarceration or reentry?
Yeah, I think for me, it became, great question. It became a space for me to discuss my experience without invalidating my experience, right? There was a platform where I can say, look, I experienced anxiety inside a prison cell, rather than, oh, you deserve to be in a prison cell and experience anxiety. And so it really changed how I even saw how myself, the community I'm a part of, and then even just validating my ideas were all just critical to my the impact the education has had on me.
Absolutely. And my personal experience was similar to Irene's. When I literally did not believe that I could achieve post-secondary education. And while incarcerated, I was convinced to at least try, and literally finished my bachelor's degree while incarcerated, and did not believe when I first started that I would ever be able to graduate with honors, which I did. And it's all the difference in the world in being able to achieve a lot of the things that I've been able to achieve both inside and out. I want to kind of pivot a little bit to Melissa and ask you, Melissa, you're our coordinator here. I've seen you help dozens and dozens of ARC members get into school, jobs, all of these different things. But what are some of the hurdles our community members face when trying to get into college, either the first time or after doing a lot of time? Let's say both for young members and for members that have done a lot of time inside. You're muted, Melissa.
Sorry. The two things that really I actually encounter with just about almost everybody is the technological barriers. Even if they did some of the college work inside, a lot of it is self-taught. Some institutions don't have that college professor coming and stuff like that. I know for me in federal prison, we were all self-taught, watching videos and passing on books and just doing basically in-cell work. And so when folks come home and they actually have maybe 2 credits away to going to the 4-year to get their bachelor, some of them don't know how to navigate the computer that well. So it's taking that time for that. Also, too, unstable housing. Some of them come home, want to continue their education or even start their education, but are in transition homes. And during this pandemic, it has been a big hurdle to help a lot of these folks in these transition homes. Number one, identify what college to attend to because they don't know where they're going to go afterwards. So if they go somewhere and they're like, well, what about transferring if I move to the IE or even somewhere in a different part of California? So it's a lot of those type of hurdles. And then, it's also to just giving that some of them, there's unidentified learning disabilities that we learn as I do my one-on-ones with them. Some of them didn't know they were dyslexic or if they have any other type of, sometimes the PTSD and PICS come about. So there's a lot of those types of things, but the support that we do have now, not just with ARC, but other orgs and also with Project Rebound, also to the community colleges. For instance, like PCC has CORE, we have El Camino with their first club. We also have East LA College. And also to the other LACCD colleges as well are really helpful to help identify because they know that our folks coming to them are system impacted and formerly incarcerated, and then they actually can really, really help identify their needs and also to take that time and what professors to take. So there's a lot of layers, but those are the real main ones is the unstable housing and technological barriers.
All right, thank you, Melissa. Andrew, I want to ask you just the same question. What are some of the hurdles our community members face when trying to go to college, either for the first time or after doing a long time inside?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that we see, we've been, addressing legislatively at the federal level, which is like the selective service. Students are not eligible for financial aid if they did not complete. Male students are not eligible for financial aid if they did not complete the selective service. Register for selective service between the ages of 18 and 25. And as we know that we have a huge population of young people in prisons. And so we deal with that a lot. Also restitution. What I've experienced personally is having restitution and then receiving financial aid. My bank account was levied for having that restitution hanging over my head. Also, a thing that we have dealt with is students don't always have a sense of belonging, right? A institution of higher education can feel like an ivory tower. Part of what we try to do at Project Rebound is say, you know what, it's not an ivory tower. We're here, we're gonna hold space and we're gonna do this. Also, people getting out of prison, there's a confliction between going to work and going to school. Like they really want to go to school, but then they're like, how do I eat? Right? How do I make these ends meet? And so, it goes back to some of the basic needs that Melissa referenced, right? And so just being able to address that. Also, many of our students are first generation. And so they don't have like the generational information of like the application process of getting into an institution like Sacramento State, or UC Berkeley, or any other of our private or public institutions. And so there's issues with that. Some prisons, while inside, don't have a college program, right? We know that there's a few that do not have college programs, or if there is, only goes up to an associate's degree. Really good ones will go up to, or not really good ones, but like students, there are many programs that have an associate's for transfer degree. And then there are a few colleges, Sacramento State, UC Irvine, and Cal State LA, who offer 4-year degree completion programs inside a number of institutions, including Donovan, Lancaster, Folsom, and Mill Creek State Prison. And, and then also just the matriculation process. There's a lot of things that go on with the with getting accepted to universities, not just doing an application, right? It's making sure that your financial aid file is caught up, your to-do list is being being able to, get completed. And so there's a lot of little things, attend new student orientation that has to go on prior to getting on campus. And so programs like Underground Scholars or Project Rebound help students with being able to do that transition.
Okay, I have one thing I just have to push back on, Andrew.
Please.
Team, I got an echo. Can you hear the echo? Okay, it's gone. So I have one thing I want to kind of push back on a little bit, Andrew, because I watched my sister while I was incarcerated do it. My mom did it before I was born, and I've seen others do it that have never been incarcerated. When people say that, well, do I eat or go to school? Why can't they do both? It's hard. It's not easy. But like Adrian Vasquez, like he worked, and Jose Gonzalez, like these are people that I personally know that both worked and went to school. So I think one of the things we have to say is like, it's not easy, but you can do it. Like it takes a lot of effort and commitment, but you can do it. Irene, I believe you did it too. Like doing both is something that we have to just accept. That's part of life.
No, and I wholeheartedly agree. I mean, for those who don't know, I'm a current graduate student in the Department of Sociology. So, and I also hold a full-time job with Project Rebound and then hold on to a number of different volunteer opportunities. So I agree with you, but sometimes when you're getting out and you're trying to find a job, you're trying to be very flexible to that job. And you're like, okay, how do I set up a class schedule to go ahead and figure out working that actually, like what Lily just said, that support that goal of higher education. So I agree with you, Sam. It is possible. It's just very, very challenging given some situations.
I know for me, Sam, being a single mother, especially when I got out of prison, I did college before prison, during prison, and after. And my daughter was young. And so the on-campus childcare, she was too young to be in because she was still in Pampers. So I don't have family to babysit for me and stuff like that. So that was difficult. And then working full time. And so like, if I were to take classes at night, who's going to watch my child if I don't have that support? So I had to wait till she was older. And then also too, coming to ARC really gave me that push. I've actually had some coworkers like Adrian and Kent, like you can do more. I just took one class. That was all that I could handle, but definitely having a community and also to pushing you, right, guiding you and helping you, really that support system does go a long way. And so.
And I say that just for our listeners to understand, one, overcoming the challenges of incarceration, prison, and all those things, that's one challenge. But what I ask everyone who's been there to remember is that you overcame something that was, as some of my younger members would say, hella hard, but you did it. And if you can do that, you can do this. So that's what I really want people to get out of this. Like nothing in life that's truly worth achieving is going to come easy. Melissa, how does ARC help people that are formerly incarcerated gain higher education?
I know for when folks come to me and I'm interested in school or even a certain career path, I do like a one-on-one assessment to see where they're at, if they have education already there, like if they've already done some units previous or inside, and then also to just building those relations, like I said before, with the different community colleges and also to the universities, doing a warm handoff because they have the know-how, like what, sometimes there's programs that I don't know about. And so it's just all of us just networking together and coming together as a community to help each other and to help navigate. So I kind of do that almost daily. I'll be like, hey, I have a member that is interested in this. Do you guys have that program? They're like, no, but I know who does. And so we all just kind of work together. Or they may have somebody in their program like, hey, they want to get involved with ARC. And so it's a back and forth type of thing. I know during COVID, I personally Zoom with our folks and actually do application registration, how to navigate through classes, how to even use the online platform. Because like I said, some people don't even know really how to use the online portals, how to do FAFSA, right? Some people had loans before they went and they're default. So I've actually had some great, Robert Ortiz at Project Rebound really helped with that with one of our members. And so now she's able to go back to college. And that was her biggest barrier. And so just like those type of barriers, we all kind of work together. And if they're not interested in college, they're like, you know what, it's really not for me. What is a trade school? I personally know about going to different trade schools before heading into the college system. So I'm pretty great about knowing the loan process and not to do what to do, and to kind of stop people from getting into these loans that they think, oh, financially is going to pay for them. And they end up being like I was in $20,000 in debt because of a trade school. So it's just kind of navigating that and being supportive in any way.
Thank you. Andrew, can you tell us, how does Project Rebound support formerly incarcerated students, and how many institutions does Project Rebound actually operate in?
Yeah, so Project Rebound, supports previously incarcerated students with a number of different things. I like to see it in three separate ways, which is, before they become students, while they're students, and after they become students. And so part of what we try to do is make sure that when there are students, that they have their food insecurities are addressed, their housing insecurities are addressed. We have resources and access to resources on our campus. What I like to think of is, and how I write letters to the parole board, is our campus is like a little city, right? We have a lot of things going on there. We have housing there, we have food there, we have clothing there, we have mental health services, physical health services. We have gym, we have social events, we have a lot of different things going on at the university, right? And so when I tell the parole board, look, we have this person who could potentially get accepted at Sacramento State, these are all the services that we're able to provide them. And we do provide them. At least either we provide them directly as a program, or we do warm handoffs and do referrals in such a way that students are actually getting the services, are not left cold. And so that's kind of what we do. Also, we want to make sure that students have pathways into the university. And so being able to knock down some of those things. Part of what we see is that the application cycle sometimes doesn't really align with somebody paroling from prison. And so how do we get somebody into a university given their release date? And so we do a number of different things to mitigate some of the issues that students may face before and while at a university.
So Irene, I want to ask you also, so what would you say are the benefits? So thank you, Andrew. And Irene, what would you say are the benefits of a higher education in reentry and combating specifically recidivism?
Well, data shows that those who have chosen to go back to school work harder than those who have never been arrested on our campus. I see it as we are given another chance in life, so we cherish it more, and going back to school gives us something positive in our life, that we're doing good for ourselves. And like I said, getting that first aid was an accomplishment. It's something positive for us. So we want to stay on that route. And it made me want to challenge myself even more. Before I knew it, I was graduating with my AA degree with the highest honors, not even knowing I could accomplish that. And who wants to, once you start in that path that is leaving you all positive, you want to stay in that direction. You want to continue doing. And I think that's why we're combating the recidivism, because of knowing that we can do something. We're doing something for ourselves. And now we want to bring people along and come and do what we're doing. We're bringing them into the path that we're taking. We paved the way for these students that are coming in, are showing them the way to, and the resources that we use as formerly incarcerated, specifically for us. And it's like, we're sharing the wealth. And I think that's what's going to help those not go back into prison, because it is an accomplishment.
Thank you, Irene. I want to shout out Tina McPhee in Australia. We want you to know, I hope you're still listening, that we will be your support network. And if necessary, we can also figure out a way to stream something to Australia. America has the biggest prison system across the country. We're in California right now, but our goal is to end mass incarceration, period. And so if there's something that we could do to help you in Australia, please reach out to us. You have 4 individuals here that are more than willing, and 2 or 3 organizations represented here that can do a lot of good if you so choose to reach out to us. So just so you know, our support for you is here, even though we're not in Australia, but still, as Lily just said, higher education expands life and opportunities. and I want to get a little bit slick again in my slang, as my staff just told me. It helps you to be able to secure the bag, as the young people say today. So the bag, we're talking the legitimate bag. So that's also one of the things that it helps you. It helps you get to be able to achieve higher pay. And as Irene said, the studies show that the further you go with your post-secondary education, the least likely you are to recidivate, period, point blank. Andrew, you want to weigh in on that too? Like, what are benefits of higher education, both in reentry and combating recidivism?
Yeah, I think being able to have representation in other areas, right? I think for a long time, historically, we've not always held positions like an executive director, like in a legislature, right? As an within an executive body somewhere, right? Or even in higher education, within as staff, right? And so, like, historically, people with conviction histories have had the door shut on them. And so what higher education kind of does is says, you know what, I'm your peer, I'm your equal. I have just as much knowledge as you, and I can perform the jobs as you. And so it really just starts leveling the playing field between, those who historically held jobs and those who historically not held jobs in those areas. And so I really, I think higher education really does a great job at addressing some of the equity gaps, not all of them, certainly not all of them, but some of the equity gaps that we have within our own society. And so, yeah, I think higher education does great, in that. Like, I would never be where I'm at today had it not been for higher education. Had I not gotten a degree, I wouldn't be at Sacramento State working at, I consider, a fantastic job. So I feel a benefit of higher education in my own life.
And Melissa, you touched on it. Thank you for that, Andrew. Melissa, you touched on this. I want to double down on this, and I also want to share something, because I know Rising Scholars, Project Rebound, and ARC have been involved in policy to help further avenues of education in trades. And to give you an example of that, again, I earlier mentioned the multi-craft core curriculum that now will be offered throughout the Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation in California. That actually came to be because of a bill that ARC co-sponsored with the LA and OC building trades, which was Senate Bill 866, which allows now that particular curriculum to be taught inside the Department of Corrections. That's a mandatory curriculum that you have to go through in order for you to be in the building trade. So that's one avenue to be able to become a carpenter, an electrician, a pipe fitter, a iron worker. All of those things are necessary when you go into all of those things are available once you finish the MC3. And so we did that through policy. And I also am aware that Project Rebound has pushed policy as Rising Scholars. And if you can you give us, Andrew and then Irene, just touch on that real quickly, and then I'm gonna bounce back to you, Melissa. But Andrew and then Irene, in terms of policy.
Yeah, so I mean, in terms of policy, we've done a number of first things, but I think one of our first and big wins was being able to convince the state legislature that that supporting Project Rebound in the state budget is necessary to be able to support reentry of those coming home and trying to pursue higher education. Another policy that we worked on is SB 118 in 2020, which is ban the box in higher education. For most applications, you will never see a conviction history question for undergrad. However, when you start getting into professional education, particularly grad school, professional schools, those questions start to pop up, and especially more frequent when you move out of California, right? And so there's that issue that we addressed, and now they can no longer, no institution of higher education can ask about a conviction history on their application unless it's for professional schools. So there is an exclusion to it for professional schools, and it's largely because law enforcement does do training at some of the community colleges. And so that was kind of one of the other things. And then the last bill that we're kind of working on we are working on right now, and for the life of me, I can't remember the bill number, but basically we're adding guardrails to higher education inside prisons. So we're trying now that currently incarcerated people are eligible to receive the Pell Grant. We're trying to keep out predatory Pell Grant receivers from coming in. Those being those non-accredited private for-profit institutions trying to get into our prison system so they can take advantage of currently incarcerated people. And so our job, or within that bill, what we seek is to be able to put up guardrails to go ahead and maintain the integrity of higher ed in prisons, and to make sure that people who are in prison are getting a quality education, right? That's what we want. At least those who have been incarcerated know incarceration, right? We don't want the watered down stuff. We want academic vigor. And we wanted to have a degree to actually mean something. And so that last bill, which is, oh shoot, I can't think of the bill number, but I'll put it in the chat if I can think of it. But yeah, those are the 3 bills we worked on so far.
Thank you, Irene. And would you like to add anything in terms of
There's not much more to add. He really went over all of them. He's our policy guy. If you know anything for policy, you go to Andrew. He's out there doing the policies. But the one thing I will add with that is because that one policy where they put Project Rebound being a state a line item in the state budget, that's how we were allowed to get our chapter, because it was originally 9 campuses that had Project Rebound, but since that we became a line item in the state budget, we brought 5 more campuses, and Long Beach just happened to be one of the campuses for all the hard work that we did. Lily with Northridge, it was Humboldt and Stanislaus and San Marcos were the 5 that were, and we're not even a year yet, and we're kicking butt on our campuses.
That bill is SB 416.
Okay, thank you both, Irene and Andrew. One other thing that I wanted to share in terms of policy is shaping, informing how the Department of Corrections is actually providing rehabilitative programming, from college education to anger management. Understanding how important that policy piece is, but also understanding that I think it's vitally important for people that have lived a life behind those walls to be at the forefront expressing what works. It's that simple. And one other thing I want to share, for people that may not know, if you have a loved one that's in prison that's taking correspondence courses, there's a book for you to really be able to understand what is accreditation. It's called the Guerrilla Handbook on Correspondence Courses. You can Google it. You can get it off of Amazon. It was the book that I went through way back in the 90s, or I think it was late 99 when I actually first got it. But it talks about both regional accreditation, national accreditation. What is the difference? What's transferable and what's not? Because you don't want to end up spending a whole lot of money on a school that just doesn't have accreditation, because then you can't transfer those credits and it's not recognized, and like it's like literally a waste of time and a waste of money. So you want to be informed about those things when you're seeking out, wanting to support your loved one that are incarcerated. And saying that, I actually want to now pivot and ask Melissa, and then I'll ask the others. In what ways can institutions ease the path to higher education for formerly incarcerated or incarcerated people?
You mean educational institutions or the correction institutions?
Both. I think we kind of covered the policy part.
I mean, for correction institutions, I wish that they would actually have real, like Andrew was stating, is to have that real feel of the academia inside the prisons, not just in cell. And then there's also too, let's say you're at one prison. I know for the males, you get transferred a lot. So sometimes you're already in college and then you have to stop and then you can't pick it up where you left off. And so there's a lot of disruptions that way. So I would like to see them have that. And also too, the computers that they do learn, they have to do that when they come home. Why are we limiting that? I think it's hard enough for them when they come home to be discouraged. Like they're so eager to either start or continue their education. And just to write a paper, I can't imagine, which I've done it myself, just to write a paper and not knowing how to navigate Word or Google Docs. Also, too, we're not traditional college students. We didn't come right after high school and have parents or someone to help us through that support system. And we're also dealing with parole. I know for me, on federal probation, I actually had to like leave class to go drug test because they called me right then and there. And how do I tell that to my professor? So having those clear help coming home, which I know that Project Rebound and other programs on community colleges, campuses help, but it's actually when they come to ARC, that's the first thing that I see. So I really think that bridging that gap from the correctional institutions and for the educational institutions to really get that educational piece together, especially when it comes to the technology piece.
The technology piece is huge.
It's huge. It can break you. It discourages people. You know, I can't write this paper, Melissa. It's taken me 10 hours to write what a normal person can do in a half hour. I know for myself, I didn't even know how to write a paper. I graduated high school. I don't know how. I went to 4 different high schools in foster care, tried to navigate college on my own without any mentors or help, failed at it. Went back into, you know, I ended up catching a case because I was trying to make ends meet. And then also too, getting into those non-accredited colleges, I did that. And so just having those pieces together can really help someone be successful in college.
There are courses that actually, like I know the beginning courses with what was it, Coastline Community College had the master college student like prep class, which I remember people going through and gives you the basics on how to actually write a term paper and steps to it. I also wanted to ask this question: what resources can correctional institutions have to assist people that are currently incarcerated? Andrew, Irene, and then Melissa.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to hit just one because it's a big one. We're, as a 4-year degree program in Folsom and Mule Creek, what we see is we have an expectation that students need to learn as a university. However, they're not given the same tools as everybody else to learn. Their library is largely inadequate. You know, a lot of it is filled with books that are, you know, there for like the Dean Koontz, the James Pattersons. You know, it's that type of reading. It's not necessarily academic reading. It's not ethnographies. It's not academic journals. It's not even databases to those academic journals. And so, in terms of like inside the institutions have done a great disservice in terms of what literature is available to currently incarcerated people.
Thank you. Irene, what resources can correctional institutions have to assist people that are incarcerated?
I think they all should like basically have us and Project Rebound as a resource, a point person in every institution for especially the campuses that they're going to be paroling to, have a direct relationship connection, so they're able to prepare their application to when they're ready to sign up, even the FAFSA, because they're not even have access to the computers to sign up until they get out. And sometimes it's important for them to already have their application ready because they get paroled at all different times, and sometimes they don't meet the deadlines. So I think that's a good resource to have somebody on the out help them prepare their package when they're ready to come out and they could already get ready to sign. And, you know, I know a lot of them are not coming to Cal State, the Cal States, but we help prepare applications even in the community colleges or meet them wherever they're ready to come out to, even GEDs. So, you know, we're not just doing the Cal State application. Project Rebound helps with all. And I think that's important to have that bridge.
So I think, Melissa, you just got an invitation from Carlon Manuel. Carlon, how you doing, brother? He said he would love to set up an ARC hub for reentry students at LA Trade Tech College. So we'll reach out to you and follow up with you on that. I think that'd be a great thing because I got to give Trade Tech some credit. Early on, they really rolled out the red carpet for people that were formerly incarcerated. And everything from when lifers first started coming home, they were having the first lifer meetings there. Trade Tech made it available, made the space available. And when we first started our pre-apprenticeship boot camp, that was one of the places that we started at. So Trade Tech has always been one of the great partners and supporters of formerly incarcerated people. So Carlon, we will be reaching out to you. And he says they have their own space now. Okay, all right. Now you didn't call this, Carlon, when you see Project Rebound and all of us at the front door. Melissa, anything that you want to add in terms of resources that correctional institutions should have to assist people that are incarcerated with their post-secondary education?
I think Irene and Andrew really covered the majority of it. You know, just once they're about to come home, just like they're now getting their IDs, right? And they're ready to work documents before they get out, hopefully. I still see that little struggle, but I think, like Irene said, is to really have them be able to apply if they're going to go into either community college or the four-year universities, their FAFSA, that type of thing would be a great thing to have.
Absolutely. And want to add one other thing, because you mentioned, Andrew, you mentioned this early on. One of the things that's necessary, and this is for both for our listeners, for other organizations, for whoever's paying attention, in terms of being able to get your FAFSA. Part of it is those are federal dollars. And in order for you to be eligible, if you're a male, you have to have registered with the Selective Service, even if you're incarcerated. But here's the thing that I learned early on too. If you did not register with the Selective Service, you can write for a waiver letter. All you have to do is prove that you were incarcerated during the period of the ages of 18 to 26, and the Selective Service will send you a waiver letter, which will make you eligible for that federal funding for FAFSA. So remember that like it sounds kind of cumbersome, but it's really quite simple if you have not. And if you have a young person who's come home, make sure that they're registered with the Selective Service so that those dollars are available to them. It's really, really important. So let me ask you this. All of you have already said it, but I want to go over it again. Melissa, how has your degree opened doors for you in reentry?
I got hired with ARC. No. It actually, like I said, I was going to school before incarceration, during and after, but it's actually gotten to the point where I got to know other fellow peers, not just on campus, but also to like meeting Andrew, Irene, Cynthia. I mean, just so many other people that are like me, right, to identify. And it just opens up doors, not just being a part of something that where before I was being a part of a gang, but now I'm a part of an academic group where I can actually, whatever struggles I'm going through, they went through, and we can be that sounding board. But also too, like looking at different career paths now, which I'm starting back up again next year. I'm going hopefully to Cal State LA. I was going to go to Cal State Dominguez, but going to Cal State LA, and then I want to teach. And so I never thought that I can actually do that, but actually taking these experiences and, you know, through ARC, just developing them has actually, yep. And Heidi says, I need to get my MSW, that too. So it's just really opened my eyes to like what career path that I can do versus what I wanted to do and I can't do because of my felony, was to be a nurse. And so changing those career paths and just seeing what other fellow people are doing is actually very inspiring. And then they're willing to coach me and mentor me through that. And I never could do it, not just without ARC, but just with everyone here on this platform and in the chat.
So, and I actually want to point that out. My little sister, Raven Nicole, who said, when I asked that first question, how is your degree open doors to you in reentry? And Raven put, she got hired at Hopix. Just so you know, like this is not for our listeners. This is not just limited to the people that you see on your screen, but literally there's so many people that are formerly incarcerated that went through the system. Education, post-education has helped get them where they want to go. And here's another comment. Melissa, you really have my back telling me about this school, me taking advantage of the opportunity to actually going. And now I'm doing something I always wanted to do. And I think that may be one of the biggest barriers that any of our people have when they come home, thinking that they can't do it. Don't ever think that, or thinking that you don't have the support. Don't ever think that you have people that want to support you, that want to guide you, that want to help you get to where you want and win and secure the bag. That part. What are the options available to incarcerated communities to earn degrees while still inside? Irene?
Which question was that again? Sorry.
So what are the options available to our incarcerated community to earn degrees while still inside?
Well, I know that they're doing the corresponding option. But with COVID, a lot has changed, so I think it's slowed down a lot of that. But I think they're going to start doing the bachelors, from what I'm hearing, in certain prisons. I'm not sure exactly which ones they are, but that's going to be good because a lot of these students, those who are incarcerated, they're doing a lot of AA degrees. They come out with like 5 different AA degrees, so they have high units. So when they come out and they try to come into the Cal States, their units are really high, and sometimes it's like, and then they're still missing some of their golden 4, which are they need to transfer into the Cal States with. So I'm hoping that they make those more available to not have to do like keep getting the AAs, making more bachelors available, and more training on what to take, what not, and don't over. I'm going to say book yourself, but I mean basically just continue to stay on one path. And I've been seeing that more and more, and those are coming out. One guy, I think he was on his 6th AA. So those are things that I hope are more available now to train them not to take so many units.
Thank you, Irene. Andrew, same question. What are the options available to our incarcerated community to earn degrees while still inside?
Yeah, we're actually increasing it. So I mean, with the with Second Chance Pell as being expanded, we were able to add additional educational opportunities inside several prisons. Also, Irene touched on a really good point. But there are some really good programs doing some really good work inside prisons, like College of the Redwoods, right, over at Pelican Bay State Prison, who really, make sure that, their students are really, their needs are getting met in a lot of different ways. We've had, and Irene and I have had the pleasure of going out there a couple times to Pelican Bay with like 15 of our closest friends and give a presentation on higher education inside the institution. And so being able to have a presence inside, being a resource. We are a CSU, and so we know what the matriculation process looks like. And so making sure that we are communicating with people inside so that they can go ahead and take the classes they need to matriculate to a 4-year university if that's what they choose. And so there's a lot of good resources going on. I mentioned the 4-year degree programs happening with Cal State LA, Sacramento State, and UC Irvine in partnership with Southwest College. And so there's a lot of good things in terms of education going on, and it's only going to expand, especially with Pell Grants. People who are incarcerated are going to be eligible for Pell Grants. I also see a lot of expansion going on with that, and hopefully more public universities will be able to fit that need. And what makes a CSU really different in terms of like some of these other universities is that a CSU is in 23 locations. We have 23 CSUs, and there are 35 prisons throughout the state. And so we have CSUs near many of the prisons in California. And so being able to fill that need between an institution of higher education and an institution of incarceration, I think it's a partnership that is important.
Thank you so much. I also want to, when we talk about resources in LA, I want to shout out LA's Los Angeles Regional Reentry Partnership, LARP. They have an education committee. If you can plug into them, there are a lot of resources that people may not be aware of when you come home. There are a lot of resources that are available when you're incarcerated. You have to tap into these resources. And the last thing that I want to share is something one of my favorite leaders who I still continue to read about, Nelson Mandela. I want to share with you a quote. The power of education extends beyond the development of skills we need for economic success. It extends beyond that. It can contribute to nation building and reconciliation. And right now in America, that's one of the things that we need is reconciliation. What we've been through the previously prior to the new election was really difficult and divisive. Education can be that tool for reconciliation if used properly. Like think in terms of making our country, not just LA, not just California, but our entire country better for all of us, because when we lift the least of us, we lift all of us. I want to ask each of you, beginning with you, Melissa, can you give a message to our community, both inside and out, who might be considering going back to school and earning their degree? Can you take a minute and give a message to them, please?
To do it. And even if you don't do it full time, even if it's one class at a time, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and education is knowledge. And you meet a lot of great folks along the way, and they end up being your family. So really, I really suggest to continue or even start your education pathway, and either reach out to myself or anyone on this platform. There's a lot of people that are here to support you.
Thank you, Melissa. Irene, can you please give a message to our community, both inside and out, who might be considering going back to school and earning their degrees?
That it's not too late. I'm the example. It's not. Like I said, I just turned 56 and just starting my career. The degrees open doors. The opening doors that used to be slammed in our faces. Now we're kicking them down. I feel like we're the leadership that we're becoming. We're becoming great leaders, and it's never too late. So don't let it discourage you because of your age. Don't let it discourage you because you've dropped out like in 7th grade. It's not hard. It's not too hard. Once you get going, you'll love the accomplishment and how it makes you feel.
That's what I'm talking about. Like truly inspiring. Thank you, Irene. Andrew, could you give a message to our community, both inside and out, who might be considering going back to school and earning a degree?
Yeah, I think, a degree is for everybody. If you want it, get it. It's yours, right? And what we have done at Project Rebound, Underground Scholars, Rising Scholars, and the rest of the people who have done a lot of work, is we've changed the system, right? We've embedded ourselves in the system, right? At my university, the president of my university used to teach inside of a prison. So we from the top down have changed the culture on how we treat people. And so I encourage anybody who's thinking about education to get in. We are here to support you. We are part of the systemic change that is happening on our campuses, and we want to make sure that you have opportunity just as anybody else has opportunity.
Thank you, Andrew. And now we're going to go on to closing thoughts. But first, I'd like to also give a message to our community, both inside and out, in terms of if you're considering going back to school and earning your degree. I was a high school dropout. Didn't think I'd be able to pass the GED. Didn't think college was a place for me. And what I found out was that I'm more than capable of not just going to classes, but I graduated with honors each time I graduated. And it just means that I have to work hard. It just means that you have to, because I'm not unique. I always say to people when I'm in a meeting, I'm not going to be the smartest person in the world or in the room, but I will work my ass off to make sure that I achieve the goals that I set for myself. And I think if we all take that position, there's nothing that we can't achieve. There's no barrier that we can't overcome. And there's nothing that we can't do if we set our minds to it. I want to go back to our panel for closing thoughts. Melissa, closing thoughts for our audience.
Thank you guys for all your comments and participation. Yeah, like I said, just reach out if you guys have any questions, or even loved ones inside that need help. They can write to ARC. They can also call to ARC, free collect. So I know that we will put that information there. Just thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you, Melissa. Last thoughts, Irene, for our audience.
Yeah, just use us as your resources. Reach out to us. We're there for you. And like I said, it's not too late. And we will be able to. And also, thank you guys for joining us. And this was a great panel.
Thank you, Irene. Andrew, last thoughts to our audience.
Yeah, I saw a couple of people, ask how to get in contact. Let me just say it, Project Rebound at csus.edu. And if that's, and we can also connect you to other campuses. So if you want to get in contact directly with Project Rebound, we can make that happen. Project Rebound at csus.edu.
And each one of these organizations at the end of the show will be put up for you to write down. And if you don't get a chance to write it down, you can call us. We will share this information. By the way, everyone on here, though they represent and run other organizations, they're still ARC members. So I'm also, just so you know, I'm not just the executive director. I'm an ARC member. So just so you know, like, this is a network that's growing. It's a support network made up of and for formerly incarcerated people. So know that we're here for you. We support you. And if you have ideas, if you want to get involved, just reach out. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Irene. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Andrew, for being the incredible human beings that you are and for joining our panel. And until August 16th or 6th, my bad, August 6th, I'll see you in 2 weeks with our next episode of the Fireside Chat with ARC. This video will live on our YouTube channel if you want to see it or if you want to share it with someone else. Thank you so much. Take care. God bless, and see you soon.